Hi everybody, welcome back to Battlestar Galactica Remembered. And recently I did a show about Jane Seymour as Serena, and it was pretty well received. Had a lot of great, looks and everything like that. And so I figured, yeah, why not? Let's take a look at the leading ladies of Battlestar Galactica. And so today we're going to continue that right from the beginning. One of the characters who was really put out there at the very start of the show, even prior to the show, and that is the beautiful Maren Jensen as Lieutenant Athena. And she was she was hyped up, the pre-publicity stills and all of that. And I know you're not here to see my ugly mug, so we're gonna get right to the photos. We're gonna put up the photos of Maren Jensen because that's what you came here to see. I know that. So anyway, she was a young model out of California, and Glenn Larson cast her as Lieutenant Athena. And, this, I didn't even realize this, but did you know that in 1978, even before Battlestar premiered, when they were filming Saga of a Star World and all that, Maren Jensen was only 21 years old. That's right. She did not turn 22 until the week after Battlestar premiered. So she was so young, only 21. She didn't have a lot of television experience. She was primarily a model, and like I said, I'm putting up those pictures of her, some of her early modeling career and all that, and as well as Athena. And she had come out in some modeling photos, all that kind of stuff, magazines and things. She had gotten a couple of commercials, and in 1977, she guest starred in an episode of the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys Hour, and that was pretty much about it. She had not done an extensive amount of acting by any stretch of the imagination. But Glenn Larson, they hired her, and she becomes, a major character. I mean, she's Commander Adama's daughter, right? Younger sister to Apollo, and of course, Starbuck's love interest. Let's not forget that. And so she was pretty portrayed out there, to be a kind of this kind of woman warrior and all that. And that's why those pictures that I'm showing you now of Athena in the full uniform with the leg computer and the blaster and even the languitron on the belt and all that, and they were put out there. She was going to be one of the major stars of the show. And indeed she was. She was featured pretty prominently in quite a few of the early episodes, as you remember. Now, Maren Jensen's role of Athena, unfortunately, we have to look at it or describe it as, starting off with a bang, but then unfortunately ending with a whimper. Yeah, it really did. But, she came out and, okay, we get the show started and all of that. And, she's this warrior and she's wearing the battle suit and all this kind of stuff. But then we start realizing, like, well, wait a minute. By Lost Planet of the Gods, you realize that, well, she's not really a Viper pilot. She's actually a shuttle pilot. And she mostly works on the bridge. We never see her go on a mission off of the Galactica later on. And then kind of something subtle happens. I don't know if you caught this, and even I kind of started thinking about this, but did you notice that pretty much after Lost Planet of the Gods, she's mostly relegated to just bridge duty? Did you notice that? She almost never comes out in the brown warrior uniform again. She's always in her blue bridge uniform. So one of the things that happened there was, she's kind of relegated to the bridge. She doesn't get a lot of action, down on the planets and all this kind of stuff. And number two, by the time we get to the Living Legend episode, Starbuck has pretty much, we know it, he's pretty much chosen Cassiopeia by this point. And so Athena's kind of left, behind there. And so, well, if she's not Starbuck's main love interest and she's just relegated to bridge duty, what's left for her to do? And it got to the point that by the time you got to Greetings from Earth, now Greetings from Earth was the 12th episode out of the 17 named episodes of Battlestar. There were only 5 episodes after that. The 2-hour special, Greetings from Earth. She's a school teacher teaching Boxy's class. Yep, that's what Athena had been relegated to, unfortunately. And so they just didn't have anything for her to do. And so did you know that Greetings from Earth was the last episode that Athena, as well as Boxy, by the way, appear in? That's right. Boxy and Athena were totally written out of the show after Greetings from Earth. They do not appear in the final 5 episodes. And so, what had started so great with Athena, and I thought she did a fantastic job. Now I'm no actor, but I hear sometimes people say that, oh, she couldn't act her way. Boxy was out acting her. Personally, I don't think that's true. I thought Maren Jensen did a fine job. Now, it may have taken her a while to get those final cuts, that appeared in the show, but I thought she did a fine job. I never had a problem with her acting or anything like that. But apparently, the story has persisted from those days that, yeah, the directors kind of, had trouble with her and this and that, and that it was taking too much time and whatever. Obviously, there must have been something to the story, because if not, you had creative writers. They would have found something for Athena to do. Send her on some missions, have her be active in some other episodes and that kind of thing. But they obviously did it. So they obviously saw something there, and they wrote her out of the show. So again, what started as a big bang with Athena ends in a bit of a whimper. They write her out of the show, and we don't even hear or see from her again in the final 5 episodes. So that's how it ended. And, one last thing is, she eventually, through the 1980s, Maren Jensen, she was diagnosed with like Epstein-Barr syndrome and like chronic fatigue. And she went through some real health issues, by the way, throughout the 1980s. But by the 90s and into the 2000s, she was doing well. She started a healthy like cosmetic company, also nutrition bars and snacks, and focusing on health and health food and things of that nature. And so from all I gather from recent stuff, she's doing really well. And so we wish her the best, of course. And one last little thing. Back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, when Richard Hatch and the whole thing was going on with the big Galactica buzz and the continuation and it coming back and all that, we would go to conventions, and the one question we would always ask is, where's Maren Jensen? I mean, wouldn't it be so cool if she would come and meet with the fans and stuff? And Richard Hatch, I even remember Richard saying that he invited her, he tried to contact her and invite her to be a part of it all, and she declined. And so we respect her privacy and all that, but I gotta tell you, Maren, if you ever watch this, we would have loved for you to come out and interact with the fans at that time. Are you kidding me? She would have been the superstar if she would have come out to a lot of those conventions at that time. I mean, we would have loved it to death. It would have been awesome. But anyway, she chose not to, and we understand that, especially if there was maybe, who knows, some bad feelings about that and how, her role ended on the show. So anyway, we would have loved it, and she is a great part of the show. We hope you like it. She was an integral part, at least in the beginning, and unfortunately they wrote her out of the show at the end. But I always enjoyed that character. It was great. She was part of Adama's family and right there in the middle of everything. So anyway, long live Battlestar Galactica. We'll continue with a few more of these leading ladies episodes, and I will see you in the next video.